In this episode of The Full Nerd, Core i9 versus Threadripper, RAID $, NVIDIA Max Q, and what's behind the Radeon shortage. Hey everybody, welcome to The Full Nerd, episode 24, recorded on June 5th, 2017. I'm Gordon Maung with co-host Brad Charkis.
I'm supposed to be on vacation this week, but I'm so excited about this stuff. I came in just to talk about it.
He's so dedicated. Reviews editor, Elena Yee.
Hey everybody.
And controlling the vertical and horizontal is Adam Patrick Murray.
Today's show brought to you by Brad's birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh my gosh,
soon
really?
to be happy birthday.
Not today,
Brad.
no.
Oh,
but
Adam doxing me on the
I
internet.
was say happy doxing day.
Are you going to go to Denny's? I understand you can get a free breakfast at Denny's if you go.
Oh, I went to Applebee's the other day, and I got like an ice cream with some chocolate on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
Okay.
Sorry, Brad. I
birthday.
had to say happy birthday. So
Thanks, dude.
So, okay, but before we lose everybody, because I know there's exciting stuff, Core i9, this is the reason why Brad came in on his day off, on his birthday almost. Core i9 Threadripper, RAID $, well, I will explain what the hell that means. And for those people that are watching other live streams, I'm not going to say whose live stream. We are monitoring it in case of breaking news events happen, but we are not going to let you down like the other live stream where they're going to like not do anything exciting. I really don't believe that there will be anything exciting coming out of there. The excitement is right here. It's all on the PC. I'm going to kick it off. Core i9 Threadripper, which of course we can say now because Computex has passed. All the embargoes are lifted. 18 core i9 versus 16 core Threadripper. Bam!
if I remember correctly, we took bets on pricing.
We did.
Yeah. Does anyone remember those
right.
bets?
Yeah, I don't remember how much.
I should have
I'm
prepared.
sure we were wrong.
I think I went with 1100.
Wait, for Threadripper or for
No, for Core i9
Core
we were
i9.
talking about. I can't remember anything, everybody.
All I know
I went with 1100 for Threadripper. We still don't know pricing for that, I don't think.
Nope.
So that's still a mystery. So we don't have to eat any paper yet.
Yeah.
Not on
Good.
Threadripper.
Well, we
My
didn't
stomach
make any
is safe
paper.
for the moment.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
should we? Like, I can't even.
But the Core i9 prices are kind of crazy, y'all.
They are nuts.
Kind of crazy.
What's crazy, once Gordon gets into it, is that the 10-core part is $700 less than it was last year, which sucks if you bought one last year.
I'm trying to pull up the price list, which I think I have in a story, which I haven't finished reading.
Well, I mean,
yet, so.
I'd like to say that, I did at least say that the new high end will slot in at 1750. So I think I was the closest in terms of Wheel of Fortune.
I was
rules.
around there. I think I was 1,700.
I think I said $1,000, right?
Yeah, you did.
But wait, let's see how.
But were we talking about Threadripper or were we talking about Core i9?
We were
Core
talking
i9?
about Core i9.
We did
because-
both. We did both.
Man, I don't remember anything.
All right, so I
Gordon
actually
was saying
have.
I would throw the gauntlet down with $1,000.
All right, let me see if I can do a preview on this because then I
That
can
was
look
some
at this
wishful
graphic.
thinking.
That was wishful thinking.
Well-
But I think I was right because isn't there $1,000? Okay.
There is a part that's $1,000, I think, but it's not
the
top.
four core Core i9 is $1,000.
Yeah, there is just a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's really strange, the lineup. I mean, we're going to get to it as soon as Gordon has the chart up, but
I'm not prepared.
here.
Carbonite sickness. Oh, you have it right there.
I think so. I think this is it.
But I think so. The interesting,
we
what I
go.
want to talk about is because look, check this out. I don't see
I
that's
got you covered. I got you covered. Look.
all right. That's nice. All right, I got this one's nice too. Look, check this out. So what? Let's kick this off.
Nobody
So,
can see this.
Nobody can see it because I haven't even run the story yet. But you go to PC World, you can read Mark Hockman's story that has the Intel price list. But 18 cores. That's the shocker, right? Because everybody expected the 12-core part at Computex. I mean, it was like the worst kept secret in the world. Intel said, "Bam! We're going to give you 6 more cores, 18 core." $2,000. No clock speeds disclosed. Then there's a 16-core part, $1,700. Then there's a 14-core part, and these are all Skylake X cores, $1,400. 12-core part, and these all have hyperthreading, $1,200 for that. It's like $100 like per core almost, right? The way I sort of like worked it out. Because
Well, that's a huge discount compared to last year.
yeah, huge discount, right? Because 10 core Broadway 10 core was $1,723.
$700.
So now it's down to, clearly there is a Ryzen effect, as I think I heard an analyst call it. So
Nice.
$1,000 for that 10 core. 8 core. Now here's where we're really gets really competitive. 8 core Skylake X part, 3.6 base clock, 4.5 on turbo, and it is $600. And I will say this: you've never been able to get an 8 core Intel CPU for less than $1,000 before. That is a massive price cut, right? And that is clearly the Ryzen effect, or as we would call a price cut. It's the actual price cut.
Sorry, I need to break in with some breaking news. They're showing a Oculus or a HTC Vive next to a Mac Pro or a Mac iMac.
What?
On
They're actually
WWDC.
putting discrete graphics in there.
No,
Well, they have before.
They're showing an external enclosure with a RX 580 that's ready for VR
So
content.
Thunderbolt 3.
Yeah.
So external.
Anyway, sorry.
That's it. They're not going to put one inside the.
I don't know.
damn thing?
I can't hear it, so I'm just going off what I'm
I
looking
turned
at.
on closed captions.
Yeah. Oh, good.
All right. Let's just go back to the fun stuff, y'all.
Yeah, this is stuff you
Core
care
Wars.
about. What?
Back to the Core Wars.
They're back to the Core Wars. I was thinking, actually, now I remember we should have done like a Star Wars intro, because it's just, you need the scrolling words at the beginning of the episode. Dun, 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 dun. Actually, how far can we go before Lucasfilm sues us, though? Like, can you?
Yeah,
of the music?
too late. Too late. I'm getting a call right now.
That's all you
I
can
should
do.
answer that.
But okay, let's keep. So 8 core, damn, $600. That's like $400 off what it was before.
That is great. But does it beat
No, wait,
Ryzen?
There's still
Oh,
there's still more. There's still more. Now these are actually these are announced parts. So then there's a 6 core part. 6 cores, hyperthreading, 3.5 base, 4 gigahertz on turbo. Oh damn! I just realized this from this chart. 389, which is not bad, I guess, for Intel, right? No, actually, this is where it goes off the rails. For me, this is where Intel goes off the rails. And then that is the bottom end Skylake X part. 6 core, 3.5 base, 4 gigahertz turbo, 389. And then from there, we get Kaby Lake X for people who don't know. So this is basically the Kaby Lake microarchitecture. And they are dropping these. So they are making a version that fits into the new socket. And there's a 4 core with hyper-threading port. Hyper-threading part CPU. 339, which is like, okay. That's like how much it costs if you bought the 1156 part. So there's like no price cut there. And then this gets crazier to me, is like, oh, Core i5 part, 4 core, no hyper threading,
Extreme Edition.
Extreme Edition. But this is 4 gigahertz base, 4.2 turbos, and that's 242, which is like now I'm just going to shift things over because I want to read off the AMD parts, because it's just like, for $242, I'm looking at 6 cores, 12 threads, right? Ryzen 5 1600X. And then against that 4 core, with hyperthreading part, it's, an 8 core with hyperthreading, or SMT, right? 329, right? So you can get way more cores out of AMD. And then 1700X, 8 core, basically, it's like everything. I don't know. These prices they're a little weird to me.
Well, Intel still has the IPC advantage, right? And
yeah, and Skylake gets a little bit more. So
if you're looking to game, yeah. I mean, it's worth a little bit extra if you're looking to game at 1080p especially, or whatever.
Right, and you're also, for these parts, there is a new feature. It's called Turbo Boost Max 2.0. Before, they basically identified 1 core that is the best and that will overclock higher. Now they're identifying 2 cores. So this actually for lightly threaded tasks, which is mostly gaming, Photoshop, frankly, that doesn't push jack in far as core count. There's a lot of apps that they are going to be really buzzing along at really, really high clock speeds. So these parts actually should perform really well. And frankly, probably until we get to multi-threaded tasks, they will have an advantage over the Ryzen equivalent existing Ryzen parts.
Well,
Broadwell E beat Ryzen in pure performance.
Yes.
So to see this inch $400 down off the 8 core price is great to me. I mean, it's a little bit competitive. They're still more than Ryzen, but I'm glad to see Intel responding.
Yeah, I mean, that is right. I mean, really, because they didn't. Everybody thought that they were going to cut prices months ago, but they didn't. So now this is their official price cut to match Ryzen.
wait, so I have a question.
Yeah.
So the feature that you mentioned where they're now going to pick 2 cores where they
Right.
might boost, does that also apply, is that only Skylake X or does that also apply to Kaby Lake X?
As I understand, it's only Skylake X.
So then so what's the advantage then? This is the part I don't understand. Like, just like even ignoring Ryzen, what is the point of the Kaby Lake X parts if you can still get a K part on the smaller socket? Like,
Right.
why would you go to the bigger socket and pay that much more for the motherboard when it's what, like 16 PCIe lanes? So you're not really going to fully take advantage of all that.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Wait, that's another topic, Brad. That's another one.
No, what Kaby Lake X specifically should not exist.
So weird.
Because it's confusing. Because one, like you're saying, it doesn't make any sense to spend more on a motherboard, right?
Right.
When you can already get the standard Kaby Lake. But on top of that, if you do get it, thinking, hey, I can upgrade in the future. If you get a Kaby Lake X part, a lot of the features in your X299 motherboard won't work. Like, it supports dual channel memory, not quad core. So it has like exotic memory configurations that none of the other chips have.
There will be education for people, yes, because you put this in and you populate. You basically, some of your memory will not work if you don't have it in the correct slots for a Kaby Lake X part. Whereas Skylake X, you get everything. Skylake X, all quad core, all quad channel. The Kaby Lake X parts are dual channel, and actually, that was a question I had at Computex. I asked a lot of motherboard vendors, a lot of people, and everybody's, it's just a head scratcher. Somebody actually said that they think Intel's just making things that nobody wants. Another person had a good observation, which I agree with. Is just Intel said basically, look, this is our high-end enthusiast platform, and these chips, remember, all the parts, all the K parts that you're running in 1156, they have a graphics core. So the there is actually, and Intel didn't tell me this, but I was told by a vendor that these Kaby Lake X parts actually they don't have a graphics core. These aren't just like we turned it off and the die's deactivated. This is actually like there's no actual graphics core. So they are sort of like newer dies in that way. And what they want to do, and a lot of the actual benchmark records were set with Kaby Lake X parts. So we already know Kaby Lake X, people are getting like, I've seen 5 gigahertz on water, right? So these parts, without a graphics, part, they should just overclock the hell out of. So I think Intel said this is our nod toward the overclocking sports. Those people who just want to overclock the hell out of chips. Kaby Lake X is probably going to overclock far more than what you're going to get out of a 18-core Skylake X, right? So
I think they would have been better as part of the standard Kaby Lake lineup because it sows way too much confusion into the X299 platform, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. Actually, I was saying like just cut it off at 6-core. Just make the 6-core part your entry-level part, and cut it off there and just make it nothing but Skylake X. I'm not really sure what the hell this is. And the weird thing, of course, is the pricing. I mean, the pricing is, you look at the 10-core and the 8-core, okay, you're like getting somewhat competitive with AMD. I mean, $600. That's only $100 more than an 1800X part. And I can tell you that I'm almost certain that 8-core Skylake X is probably going to beat up that 1800X in a lot of things, right? Because it's higher clocks. But then you get to these lower end parts, is like, there's like, what the hell would you even buy this for? I'm sorry, actually, I'm just looking over at the Apple keynote, and there's some kind of TIE fighter.
Yeah, I was just about to say that they're using the Vive on an iMac that's either equipped with I think they announced 570, 580. It said Radeon Pro 560, 570, and 580. But yeah, the Industrial Light and Magic's doing something with Star Wars.
That makes sense. There. Last week at Computex, Atlanta wrote it up. The Dell all-in-one that had a 580 in it, right?
Yeah, 580 and 8-core Ryzen, right? 1700 part?
I think it was 1600.
Crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, over on chat, Dr. Dinah says core and clock speed talk isn't super valuable without IPC talk. So please.
Well, basically, this is Skylake, so it's the Skylake. We already know Broadwell microarchitecture was faster than one-to-one than Ryzen. Because Broadwell is about even, right? They're just saying, we're 1-to-1 with Broadwell. So Skylake is going to get a little more. So they're going to, if you were to run a Ryzen and you were to run a Skylake part at both of them 3 gigahertz, your Skylake X part will probably be 5% faster, maybe, right? So that's the whole thing of the, instructions per clock. And Skylake X probably will run at a higher clock, right? Because I mean, this 10-core part, their turbo is 4.5, and I don't think
that's awfully damn fast.
That's awfully good, and that's not overclocked. And people are not getting those clocks out of Ryzen, and also on Intel, which is a plus. They do have per core overclocking. So in their defense, you're going to get better clock speeds out of Skylake X. So I think actually they probably, and no one knows because we haven't tested it yet, they got the advantage probably in most of the lightly threaded tasks. But then this is I did not realize this until I looked at my chart, but and this actually is a good segue to Threadripper. But on that 8-core, 16-thread Skylake X part,
this is the most bullcrap part. I think I know what you're talking about.
It has, yes. I thought that was. You get 28 PCIe lanes, right? So there's only 28 PCIe lanes. So people who don't know, the PCIe functionality is actually integrated into the CPU, and Intel has, for God knows what reason, decided to make the 8-core part to only give you 28 lanes, which back in the gimpy Broadwell Haswell E days, you'd have to get down to that. Remember, you had like this is the good 6-core part with 40 lanes, and then you you can't afford it. We've got a 28-lane PCIe, which is like, because everybody did that, right? Because it was like $380 for that 28-lane one, but and then just what would happen you plug it in your motherboard, and just some things would not work right. So,
and there's never been an Intel 8-core consumer part that didn't have 40 lanes.
Yes. So this is the first. So we're gonna give you the 2 extra cores. We're gonna cut the price by $400, but we're gonna take some PCIe lanes away.
So, why are they doing that?
Intel
price
is
segmentation.
Yeah, it's market segment. Because I've always suspected this is just simply they want to be able to sell it to you. Hey, you want more PCIe lanes because you want to run 5 NVMe drives? You need to buy 40 or the 40 for the 10-core part gives you 44 lanes of PCIe. The 8-core part is 28, which is a lot less. And of course, so that's a lot less. This is my segue to Threadripper, which there is only one part announced. It's been coming for a long time, but the big thing that came out of Computex is AMD saying we have 64 PCIe lanes, which is crazy.
That's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like AMD just gives you more for your money, more cores.
What I'm
more
curious
PCIe.
to see is if you look at the Core i9 chips. So Intel's calling all the 10-core and above Core i9 chips.
Right.
The 10 cores had all its spec announced, but all the new ones, the 12-core, 14, 16, 18, haven't. I'm curious to see where they wind up with PCIe lanes after all this.
I know. I wonder if they're going to give you more, or I would suspect they'd all just be 44.
Yeah, me too.
They're certainly not going to give you less than that, but still. The only way to get 44 lanes is to pay $999 for the 10-core part. It's just like,
and that's the thing too with Threadripper. Didn't they say that the 64 lanes was like the entirety of Threadripper? It's not just that 16-core part.
Yeah, they said every single chip.
So everyone.
So that means
that's awesome.
So that means you probably can get all those lanes for a lot cheaper than you would with Intel.
So you probably will be able to get. I mean, there's rumors of there being probably a 10 to 14, but I don't know. I sort of heard from them that there's we don't have to compete on every single part, right? They could have a 16, they could have a 12, and that would be
have an 8. There you go.
Yeah, they could have an 8, right? Maybe they just have an 8 because you want 8 cores and you want it on the bigger socket with all the PCIe lanes, and they are also quad channel memory support, but 64 versus Intel's, doling out we're gonna you're only going to get 28 because you didn't pay for it. So
I'm sorry. They're revealing something on the Mac stream. This looks like a iMac Pro.
Ooh, the mouse.
Oh,
an
it's actually
iMac
hardware?
Pro. Yeah, it looks like some hardware being revealed here.
Oh, but that looks like an iMac.
It looks the same, but listen, it's not the same. It's an iMac Pro.
Oh no.
Is it Ryzen based? Because that is just something that would be like
Threadripper coming to the iMac Pro. Just kidding. Sorry, I just need to chime in there. It's all black.
Rumor posts were born that day.
I gotta say it though, because
can you imagine fitting a CPU that size into an iMac? I mean, come on,
I mean, it'd be great. You got all those PCIe lanes to work with on an iMac. Oh wait, No.
Oh, you mean the full? Because people don't know the Threadripper. It's huge. It's like this big.
It's like a freaking credit card.
Like if you hold it in your hand, it's like bam.
Did you actually see one at Computex?
I held it in my
personally?
hand.
Oh,
I
you
actually
did.
held
Okay,
one
that was your hand. Okay.
Yeah, that was actually that was somebody at AMD's hand. But
okay.
I later on I saw it again. But so like, sorry, we're just gonna give you the update. Look, they got cooling, so the air cooled. Oh, they have fans. It's cooled. So the new iMac has air cooling.
Confirmed.
Oh, it has memory slots. Oh, they're not going to screw you on that. I see
I see the memory slots.
Oh, but
yeah.
you know what? Those look like registered DIMMs. Those are like serious. Those are not just the stuff that we buy, the El Cheapo stuff. Those look like really expensive EC. Oh yeah, okay. 8-core Xeon.
Up to 8-core Xeon.
That's it.
Snooze.
That's it. Up to an 8-core Xeon.
So
you could have a 16-core Threadripper.
Oh, and they have a 10-core. So what is it?
But it's still Xeon.
What I want to know though is so what are they?
18-core Xeon.
Okay, so they're basically
they would have to do Xeons because Core i9 isn't going to be out to who knows when. They had no idea. Nobody ever said when that stuff's coming out.
But at least it means it's actually a LGA 2066.
Oh, Vega graphics.
Oh, hey. Okay, that's not bad.
But
that's
still, they're still missing the point. Sure, you can beef it up, but if you don't have a way to service it yourself or add extra things like your, multiple video cards or PCIe based things for professionals, then you're missing the point there. You can't do it all.
Well, they said
Thunderbolt.
they're coming out with a whole new one next year, right? This is like their stopgap emergency.
Hey.
Look at all the teraflops.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they just said we got to do so. I think Brad's right. They said Apple's going to look, hey, people actually still want to buy computers. They don't want to live in their tablet world. We got to do something. Just jam it into an iMac.
So actually, do you know the real reason why Apple people are going to buy this?
Why?
Because this iMac comes in black.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a darker chassis, so all the Apple people are going to buy it because of that. So
it looks silver here. Yeah, see, look,
it's like
128 gigs of ECC RAM. So they're putting, that is a lot of hardware in an all-in-one. That thing is going to howl. I bet that's just going to be loud.
Gordon getting an iMac. I can hear it in his voice.
Gordon, iMac confirmed.
The crazy thing is
Oh, 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports.
Yeah.
That
Dell all-in-one with the Ryzen 8-core part and the 580 is probably going to be like, I don't know, 90% the performance of this iMac Pro, but probably like, I don't know,
half the
a
price,
third the price. So
yeah, let's see the pricing, but also who wants to work on a Mac? I mean, nobody wants to work on a Mac.
Plenty of people.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I kind of think this is What are these little boxes?
Gordon's excited.
Storage?
Those are storage.
All right, sorry, we got sidetracked. So that's the big
I want to
news.
get back to Threadripper.
Back to Threadripper.
You forgot the most important new announcement from Computex.
Which one was that?
The day after Intel announced their new Core i9 chips and the X299 platform, AMD came out and said, Threadripper, you can get it when it comes out on X399.
Oh, X399. Yes, because I sort of got it.
Just going
Go ahead, Brad.
Going up one more
They just
number.
keep crapping all over the Intel. They did the same with the B350 boards. They just keep crapping, stealing Intel's thing and one-upping them.
But doesn't that feel a little bit like Coming to America there for people who don't remember? Remember that scene where you have McDowell's? Like, they got the Big Mac, we got the Big Mac. They got 2 all-beef patties with the sesame seed bun. We got 2 all-beef patties without the sesame seed bun, right? That's just... Because you remember that was like the whole thing is he stole the McDonald's operations manual and he was... Okay, I'm dating myself here. Eddie Murphy was a great comedian for people who don't know, you millennials.
iMac Pro starting at $5,000. Available in December.
5,000.
5,000. Starting at 5,000.
In September with an 18-core chip?
No, starting. So you'll get the 10-core starting.
Didn't they say 8-core as their starting one?
No, I think it was 10.
No,
was it 8? Oh,
no, it was 8. I think that was the first
8-core starting at
slide they put up.
5,000.
Well, I mean, so the thing is Intel's only announced basically clock speeds. Oh, no, hell, they have not even set the clocks for the 12-core
Nope,
part?
they announced nothing. Well, that's what this. I'm super excited about all these Core War news that came out at Computex, but we're still kind of like wait and see, right?
Right.
Because Intel hasn't announced anything but core count and price. And AMD's only announced core count, PCIe lanes, and no price.
And memory channels.
No release dates on any of this stuff. I mean, it's super exciting, but it's still kind of
can we assume that because they undercut with Ryzen that they're probably going to undercut at least Intel, right, on the higher end stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, but
I think they.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I have a little bit of a delay. You go ahead.
Go ahead, Brad. You're more important than me.
Well, they're going to have an even bigger IPC deficit with these, right? Compared from Ryzen to Broadwell E. So in theory, I would think they would definitely need to stay aggressive, and I would stick by I think the 16 thread one's going to be 1,000 to 1,200 for Threadripper.
Ooh.
Boy. I mean, that puts it right down against 16-core Threadripper against a 12-core Skylake X or Core i9 part, right? That seems pretty aggressive. I almost think it'll be $1,400. So it puts it up against the 14-core part, the i9 Core i9 7940X, 14 cores, $1,400. That probably be right. But I agree. Yeah, they are going to probably have an IPC advantage. They're probably going to have somewhat of a clock advantage. We sort of assume that. But I think part of the reason we don't actually know the clock speeds on these higher core count Core i9s is Intel doesn't know. They're still setting them. They're probably still saying, well, what can we really ship these in a reasonable quantity at? And then how can we do this without screwing up all of our Xeon sales? Because, note these iMacs are Xeon based. They are not Core i9 based. So I think they are very sensitive to not screwing up their pricing stack there. So
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the reason PCIe is so nerfed.
Yeah, I guess so, right? But still, I mean, the 10 core is 44 lanes. So and on this iMac, it probably doesn't matter. I don't think you're going to need all those PCIe lanes. But man, although, sort of like when you're looking at these high thread count CPUs, I don't know if clock speed's going to matter that much. Because if you're really buying a 16-core or 18-core CPU, you really should be using workstation class applications. You really if you're buying a 16-core, 18-core CPU for gaming, you're just doing it for fun. You really don't need it, and it's a disadvantage. It's better to have a higher clock speed part. You don't really need 18 cores for gaming. The only time it would be an advantage is if you're gaming, running Premiere, you're running a renderer, and you'd be doing like 7 things at once. So
Mega-tasking.
Super mega tasking. So, yeah, but man, 64 PCIe lanes at least. So they're not going to get you there. So your prediction is for what, $1,200? You're saying 1,200?
I think 1,000 to 1,200.
That's super aggressive.
Well, look at the 1700. The Ryzen 7 1700 was $300. It's $300 now compared to a quad core 7700K, which is $330. So
yeah,
that's twice the cores.
But they don't seem to care. Interestingly, Intel just is not spooked by the core counts because, I mean, for me, I would not. It's really hard to go for a quad core without hyperthreading for that price, for like an i5 part. Versus that Ryzen 5. It's just like 6 core, 12 threads versus 4 core, 4 threads. Just like,
I made that last mistake, a couple years ago in my personal build to get the 4 core without hyperthreading, and I'm like, nah, I'd never do that again. And especially now that Ryzen's out, yeah.
Right. Well, that's what most gamers do. Brad has that. You have that.
Yeah.
I think most gamers have the i5 parts because they don't want to pay the extra $75. So it's really weird because it's not competitive at the high end. And it's not competitive at the low end, but that middle section is, somewhat competitive. You're looking at 600 for that 8-core part. What's your guess on price, Elena?
For a Threadripper?
Yeah, for the 16-core.
I would probably say about 1,200, 1,300.
Yeah, makes sense. I think, yeah.
They got to get a little aggressive, but I don't think they can afford to completely undercut themselves either.
Yeah. No, I think that's about the right price, right? So you can't get too crazy. Could they do it for $1,000? Is that just, are they devaluing the whole lineup if they do it for $1,000?
Well, they have actually been bringing down prices for the Ryzen series recently on both Amazon, Newegg, all the online retailers. All the Ryzen 7 chips, their prices have shifted down.
Is that just availability though? Because I mean, they were hard to get originally. I'm wondering if that's just...
No, motherboards were hard to get.
Right.
Fans were hard to get. Chips were easy to get. I always have them.
Easier. But I'm just wondering if now that everybody sort of built their system, so demand's a little bit lower, so then the prices are going to come down to entice more sales. I don't know. I mean, I just don't know if these are official AMD going to everybody and saying cut everything by $40.
Well, everybody is cutting it by the same amount.
Yeah.
So it strongly suggests that. It's not like that one where it's like, oh no, Intel's cutting things ahead of Ryzen when it was just a Micro Center discount. That's not the case here. You're consistently seeing prices fall. So it seems like they're making room. So I'm hoping for 1,000.
God, that's just, I mean, that CPU is so huge. You just want to have it just to like.
I mean, you know, yeah, with a bigger CPU, you need bigger machines to make it, right? There's no way they can undercut the price. It just doesn't make sense. I still say $1,400.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's 14. Yeah, for 16 core. Okay.
What about you, Gordon?
About right. God, I sort of think, about 14 to $1,300. It seems like. It just seemed like they needed to price it down a little bit lower. So
I bet high with Ryzen. You guys were asking us about Ryzen before it came out, and I said there's no way it's going to be less than $700. And then their top one came out at $500, so I'm not making that same mistake twice.
I guess I wouldn't. I would have guessed the lower price, except that Intel has already set pricing. And I will say the smack talk from AMD at Computex was like, they're like, look, like how the hell do you announce something where the only thing you know are how many cores it has and what the price is? So that's the only thing you know is like you don't even know what the final clocks are going to be, but you're going to set the price. So they're like, you know, it's a little. They think it's a little extreme, you know. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think they got to be. Yeah, I think that 1,200, 16 core versus 12 core. Yeah.
On YouTube, Ruru2 says Threadripper will be $1,000 for 16 cores. That's his.
That's what I guessed. That's what I guessed before Intel came out and said $2,000 for an 18-core chip. So I would have. That's what I actually did a guess originally, but I just think no, not Intel does not want to play a price game here with AMD at the top end. So I think AMD is going to squeeze a little bit more money out of everybody too.
I mean, it only makes sense. You know, Ryzen, the high-end Ryzen 8-core is $500. Double that, $1,000. You know, right?
Yeah, right. You're getting twice as many. Yeah. Actually, and it is just two of them, right? So $500.
I think the new core chips. I think the 4-core chips don't make any sense, and they shouldn't be there. And it's silly that they're there. I think the 6, 8, and 10-core Intel chips look really strong, in my opinion. I mean, it'll depend when Threadripper comes out, but we'll see. And I think the higher stuff, they announced it too early. It feels weird.
Yeah. They said that AMD will probably show off things like, hey, look, we're running, you know, all these, we're running 4 GPUs by 16 Gen 3. Everything's running at 6 by 16. How does that work on that 8-core Intel part, right? Not going to happen. So that PCIe thing is kind of, does that kill it for you guys to like get gimped with that 28-lane PCIe configuration?
Yes. That made me feel bitter. It did. That was my initial reaction looking over it. I'm like, what? They have never not had a 6 and 8-core chip without 40 PCIe lanes, and now they're just cutting it just because. And it irritated me.
It's a very Apple move, you know, right?
They do things to keep people at the height to pay a little more money, and you know it has worked I guess it worked in the 6-core days, so they're doing it again.
I mean, but you know, if you think about it, most people, right, who are just gaming, don't need more than 28.
No. So no, you don't. I mean,
somebody like me who needs, you know, multiple capture cards and, you know, things like that. Like,
yeah, I think what it is just that feeling of just getting burnt. Like, man, come on, just give me a break here, Intel.
It's like when you go to the grocery store and you're like, man, I need paper towels, and you go and it's still the same price on the shelf, but now you get like 10 less squares. Or sheets. That's what it feels like. And you're like, okay, you didn't raise the price on me, but you're still undercutting me on this. Dude.
They do that. There's a large.
That happened to my toilet paper, and now I get new toilet paper.
Whoa, it's horrible.
There's a large retailer which we didn't realize till one day. So we went to this. I don't want to say. There's a very large retail. It's very well known. It would be the first letter would be an M turned upside down. So we go there to buy some, you know, my friends and I, my buddies, will go out, we go have a steak dinner, then we go shop at this large retailer at 1 o'clock in the morning. And my friend's like, he goes like, hey, I'm going to buy these chamois. This is a good price, right? And so he buys like, hey, these chamois are a good price for washing cars, guy thing. Gals do it too, but I don't know what's up with I don't know. We get back to his house. He's like, hey, And he gets the normal chamois that he bought at just whatever, a car auto store retailer, and it's this big, right? And the one he just bought is like 4 inches shorter on both sides. And that's how they made it cheaper, because you think it's the same thing, but it's actually they've actually have the SKU that actually has less. This is like, holy smokes, Intel is doing that. Like, okay, well, the consumer, we're gonna sell it to you with fewer PCIe lanes, 28, and you buy this through Dell or HP, you get 44 lanes. We're gonna sell you the cheaper one, right? Well, this is a perfect segue. Speaking of getting burnt.
I'm sorry. We have some questions in the chat here. First, a comment. NBW Doughboy says the 7800X is stupid. The pricing is stupid. The low lanes is stupid. I think it's the worst price chip out of the whole stack. So he's very, very upset.
That's the 18-core one, right?
No,
that's
6-core 12.
6-core.
612, 3.5, 4 turbo, 28 lanes, quad channel memory for 3. But this is basically a drop-in price for the previous 6-core version, right? Not the 5820. Well, in the Haswell E days, it was a 58. Was it the 5860? I forget. God, who can keep track of those numbers? It's like
too many.
It's like fractions. Some of those Intel part numbers, right? But this is a drop-in for their 6-core with. Yeah, that's the exact same part. This is equivalent of a 5820 K part, and then in Haswell E.
So and then Ivan does have a question. He says, is there any chance AMD will go on a core race with Intel and announce even more cores, 24, 32? Is it ever possible?
I think it's...
When will it end?
I don't know. See, I got to say, like, the one thing about Intel, this is the crazy thing about Intel and AMD, because I would have expected, okay, Intel's like, you're bringing it like the 12 core, right? And then the problem, of course, Intel would have been happy saying 12 cores. AMD said, no, 16. So Intel has to come back and they got to go 18, right? Mm-hmm. They've sort of reached the upper limit. I mean, that's beyond the upper limit of what a consumer could really use, I got to say. And I'm always been a huge promoter, and I love, high core count machines. But it's going to be pretty hard to justify a 24-core or 32-core CPU for a consumer in a year, if this kind of keeps going, right? So Intel hits back with 18, AMD comes back and say, hey, we're going to give you a full Naples part, 32 cores, like in a year's time or something like that. Where do you go from there, right? Where are going to be like 64-core consumer CPUs?
Well,
which would be awesome, but I really got the state of software, the state of games, the state of applications. You
can run 3 virtual PCs and play games on those virtual PCs while streaming from 3 other dedicated virtual PCs.
Right.
Well, and actually, if anything, here might be a good tangible result. Doughboy also says maybe because of this that the min core counts will be pressed up higher. So then we'll stop seeing 4 cores and the min will be 6 or 8.
Right.
So then knowing in the future, then games will take advantage of more cores. So it's got to be pushed somewhere. So
right.
Maybe they use it to push
chicken and egg thing. And so now we now have the chicken finally. The egg did not want to come first. Now we have the chicken. So hopefully now the eggs will come. But I got to say, what?
I mean, if they're putting out a 4-core part as part of the enthusiast line, I don't know if they're really going to give up on that anytime soon. I'm just going to put that out there.
They need to.
I mean, I'm hoping for that world. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. I'm hoping for that world where everything gets pushed up. But
Right.
if they're still going for that 4-core part and they're like
They're
big
being
socket,
reasonable. But I
just saying.
I think the reason why is because, I think developers will go like, hey, look, now, 8 cores are basically like you can have 8 core CPUs are just like everybody will have, right? So now we'll finally support it, maybe.
Because everybody buys $300 processors.
Well, hell, you can get, this all-in-one Dell, right? That is, consumers, they go and say, oh, this one's got 8 cores, this one's got 4 cores. Consumers don't know, right? My washing machine does steam cleaning. I've never used that.
Really?
When I bought that washing machine, it's got steam cleaning. It must be better, right? Don't need it. It does steam cleaning. Never used it. I don't even know what it does.
Steam cleans.
It does,
Obviously.
I guess. But okay, why don't I just use water? Because I already put the thing in here already.
Technically, steam is water in
Well.
a different form. I mean,
But I mean, consumers don't know. The average person going to Dell or HP or Apple's website is like, oh, I got to have this iMac Pro now. It's got 18 cores. So I think they think it's better. It is better, but the software's not there. But I think the thing is, it's going to it'll take 3 years for software to ever catch up. It feels like 3 years from now, maybe you'll get like, oh wow, we're getting more applications that use more cores. But that's 3 years from now. In the meantime, you could just go out and buy your Core i5 with no hyperthreading and be fine, right? So
True.
I think those are still pretty sweet gaming processors. The Core i5, Kaby Lake stuff, man, they go really fast and they can still do a lot. But I think between these core wars now coming to the PC and the fact that all the consoles have 8 core parts in them, I think it's really starting to look like we might push past 4 in the next couple of years finally.
yes,
And not to mention the new iMacs and the new MacBook Pros are getting Kaby Lake as well. So
Oh, was that the other news?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Woo.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
I bet I gotta say, Brad, how long have we been saying that though? How long has everybody been saying 8-core consoles? It's gonna be right around the corner for there to be a multi-core support in CPU in on the PC gaming. It's like it has not shown up yet, has it? I mean, it just has not.
Well, Intel's owned CPUs, right, for like a decade. FX wasn't super competitive except for at the budget end. And Intel really, really wants those quad-core parts to be priced where they're at. Like even when they pulled out the octa-core, the 5960X or whatever, it was $1,000. But now we actually have price competitiveness in multi-core, so.
Yeah, so maybe, right?
Yeah. Fingers crossed, at least.
And maybe the Xbox, with the new Pro one or whatever, will have they'll switch to Ryzen instead of keeping Jaguar cores, huh?
Oh yeah, is that?
No, they already said they're keeping Jaguar cores.
They're set for now.
I know, yeah.
You buy it in fall, you're getting Jaguar.
No, the big announcement next week. I'm just kidding. No,
They've already said they're keeping Jaguar cores.
Yeah.
They're not going to Ryzen.
Is it just for cost? I mean,
moving to a new architecture would be difficult with the backwards compatibility as well.
yeah.
And production too. I mean, if they're planning to launch holiday, they have to be ready in production now.
right, that's true. And plus, I mean, honestly, keeping the price down. I'm sure AMD's not going to give away the goods with its best core for the same price as a Jaguar core.
That means the next Xbox Pro will have Threadripper.
Has Sony announced an upgrade to the PS4 Pro?
No.
Man, that just came out.
Remember, you're on console timeline here.
Oh, console timeline.
timeline.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.